So today I have a few new products to test out, including the Natasha Denona High Glam Foundation. I have been waiting for her to launch this foundation ever since I first tried the concealer years ago. This is one of my favorite products of all time. I have repurchased it more times than I can count, and I actually end up using this in place of foundation fairly regularly. So I have been saying for the longest time, like, I cannot wait for her to launch a foundation version of this. I'm kind of curious now that it's actually here to see if I like this better than the concealer, because again, I'll use this in place of my foundation, just apply a little bit, blend it all over, and it looks so good on the skin. So this is what I'm most excited to try out in today's video, but I have a couple of other products as well. I will do some check-ins today and show you how the products wear. I don't always do that, but because I don't have tons and tons of things to test out and I am using a new complexion product, I'm really curious to see how this holds up on my skin throughout the day. So I hope it's helpful, but I'll come back in a few weeks and share a full review once I've had the chance to test it with different primers, different powders, things like that. Okay, so to prep my skin today, I just went in with my go-to sunscreen. I wear this under pretty much every complexion product I own. I like it on its own, but it's really great under makeup. It's from Dalba. It's the UV Essence Waterful Plus. I've gone through quite a few bottles of this ever since I tried it for the first time back in the spring because it just pairs really well with makeup, but it's also great on its own. It's very, very lightweight and it gives your skin like a little bit of a glow, but it's not greasy. It's not heavy. It has a really thin texture. So this pairs well with like all of my foundations, but I will try this over the next few days with other sunscreens, other primers, but today I thought I would just prep my skin how I normally do. So this is what the bottle looks like. Really pretty, definitely feels and looks luxurious. I have the shade N4, which is the shade I wear in the concealer. It's like my ideal shade match out of any complexion product I own. So I really hope this matches me well. I'll swatch them next to each other. The bottle does have that same kind of soft matte feel to it. Well, the cap does. And then when you take it off, the pump actually has that feel as well. So the bottle's really pretty, as it should be, because this is an expensive foundation. It's $52. There's no need to buy a $52 foundation if you don't want to. After I try this out, I'll share some alternatives if there is like a drugstore formula I feel like compares. Honestly, most of my go-to foundations are drugstore, and it kind of works out like that. I love so many of their formulas. But again, I love the concealer so much. I was like, let me try this out. So this comes in 35 different shades if you order directly from Sephora's website. But if you go over to the Natasha Denona website, they actually have more. They have 52 shades. I do have an affiliate code if you order from Natasha Denona's website. This is not sponsored. I bought this myself, and you can order wherever you want. Thank you if you decide to use it. But again, no pressure. Order from wherever is the best option for you. So here's the concealer in N4 and then the foundation in N4. You know what? Let me do a closer shot of these just so you can see what they really look like. The textures are definitely different. The concealer feels a little bit thicker, and then the foundation feels a little bit, thinner. It feels more lightweight. I feel like I'm going to like this just from my initial swatch. It is pretty thin, but I also feel like it's going to have really good coverage. Swatched next to each other, again, they're just slightly different. They're not exactly the same. I think on the skin, there probably won't be a big difference. I made sure to shake it up really well, so it's pretty thin and runny. As you can see, they describe this as a medium buildable coverage foundation. I'm just going to apply it with my finger. Wow. Okay, it's very thin. It's spreading out so nicely with my finger. I feel like a little bit's going to go a long way. I'm just using the IT Cosmetics number 7 brush. This is like their dual-ended complexion brush that you can use for foundation, cheek products. It's just like a good all-around staple. So they also claim that this is supposed to hydrate the skin, but also balance oils for up to 18 hours of wear. I don't plan on wearing this for 18 hours today, but I'll wear it as long as possible and give you an update. So it's pretty glowy initially. Again, very thin, so it does look nice and skin-like, but I will build it up just to see if it is a buildable formula. This foundation has a lot of claims. They claim that it's blurring and self-setting. Again, I will go in with powder and set it because I set all of my foundations. My skin is, combo these days. It's oily in some places, dry in others. But no matter what I'm wearing, no matter if it's like the most matte foundation I've ever tried or it's very glowy, I always set it. Even though it's marketed as like a self-setting foundation, they also say it's like a radiant serum, which I can definitely see that on the skin. So let me just apply it to this side of my face. And this is all just one pump, by the way. Like I said, much, much thinner than the concealer. I will say I'm kind of getting to the end of my concealer, so I do think it has dried out just a little bit. Like I've had this one for a very long time. And I think sometimes when you open a brand new concealer, the formula feels a little bit different, but I do think overall the concealer is thicker. Okay, this is how the foundation looks on my skin, just one light layer. It looks beautiful. It's not clinging to any areas on my skin. I am dealing with a little bit of dryness, some texture, but honestly, it went on beautifully. Very smooth, very glowy. So I'm kind of curious again, once it dries and once I set it, if that glow is going to really come through. That could be great for you if you have dry skin or you like a super glowy foundation. But I think because they do market it as like a self-setting foundation, that should tone down a little bit. I'm just going to take a little bit more around my cheeks. That's where I'm dealing with some hyperpigmentation. Oh, okay. It layers really nicely. It's not feeling heavy. It's not looking cakey. Okay, here's how the foundation looks with the second layer. It looks so pretty, very easy to build up, and it doesn't look heavy or cakey on the skin at all. I'm curious to see how this is going to wear. I'm not trying to overhype it yet because who knows, it could look really good initially and then wear really poorly throughout the day. We'll see. I wish I didn't have to set my foundation because this does look so beautiful on its own. Or I wish, like, I'm just jealous of those of you that have normal leaning dry skin because a light layer of powder to lock this in would be so perfect so you could see the actual glow throughout the day. But I have to lock mine in with powder. Otherwise, it's not even, no question. Doesn't matter what foundation it is, it won't last well. Before I go in with concealer and bronzer, I do have a new lip balm to try out. I should have applied this earlier. It's the Tula Glaze Plumping Lip Treatment. So this is supposed to give you like a nice glossy look, but it also claims to hydrate your lips for 24 hours. So I have the shade, I have the pink one. I think it's just called pink. There are so many lip balms out these days. And I like a good lip balm, but I do usually typically find myself going back to like my staples, like the Henriksen ones or the ColourPop ones. Those are typically my two top favorites. This one smells good. It has a little bit of like a vanilla, almost cake-like scent. It's very thin, very glossy. I think the main thing I look for in a lip balm, which should be a given, is the fact that it's very hydrating, like long term, more than just like an hour or two. My lips are actually super dry right now, so today is actually a really good day to test this out. For bronzer, I'm just going to use a favorite, the No Limits Cream Bronzer from LYS Beauty. This one is in the shade Hope. I'm just going to apply it directly to my brush and then go over my cheeks, my forehead before I go in with the Natasha Denona concealer. I've said this before, I like doing bronzer first because you can just throw it on. You can be quick, messy, and then kind of clean up the edges with concealer. This formula is great because it's very creamy, very rich and pigmented. I honestly over applied it because I just kind of loaded up my brush. But again, that is why it's ideal, I think, in my opinion, to do bronzer first, because that's basically it. It's on, it's in place. And now let me apply some concealer. For concealer, I have to use the Natasha Denona concealer, of course. And again, this one is in the shade N4. This is just the perfect formula in my opinion. I feel like this is, you either see comments from people who say they love it, like it is their holy grail concealer, nothing else quite compares, or they don't like it. Like it looks heavy on them, it creases on them. So I'm curious to know, what do you think of this? It's still my favorite of all time. It is a little bit of a thicker, kind of creamy concealer. So I definitely get where people are coming from if they're claiming like it's a little bit too thick, too heavy for them. There are days where I'll reach for something a little bit thinner, maybe like the Tower 28 concealer, or of course I love the Catrice one. But I find that this just stays in place very well on my skin, no matter what season it is. It doesn't matter if it's like super hot and it's summer. It also, doesn't really enhance dryness for me during the winter time because it is a very creamy, very hydrating formula. It has great coverage, blends out quickly, wears really well. And that is a reason why I like using it in place of foundation. I'll just kind of like throw it on, blend it out because it's so fast and it looks good throughout the day. I've even been doing that quite a bit during the summertime. It's pretty glowy though, so I always, again, set it with powder. So this is what the base looks like. I don't think I'm going to do cream blush today because, it depends on I'm not sure how the eyes are going to turn out. So I'll do the eyes first, come back, I might do powder blush. So let me lock everything into place with powder. For powder, I'm just going to use the About Face Curtain Call powder. I use the shade Bow. And I thought I would use this one today because number one, it is one of my favorites of all time. But number two, it's not too matte and it's not like so lightweight that my makeup will wear off quickly. It's like a good everyday powder. So I'm going to use this under the eyes to really lock that concealer into place. And then I'm just going to lightly set the rest of my face with this because I don't find that I usually need like a heavy amount of this everywhere else. But over the next few days, I will test it with some other powders. So I'll test it with the Huda Beauty powder, which is definitely more matte. I'll test it with the Makeup by Mario powder, which is even more lightweight than this one. And then I have like a million powders I love. I don't know if Natasha Denona has a powder. I know she has a powder foundation, right? I think it's the High Glam Powder Foundation. I don't buy every single new Natasha Denona launch. In fact, I don't really have a lot of Natasha Denona in my collection other than her eyeshadow palettes. So I don't know a ton about her line as far as like complexion products, cheek products. Okay, so now that the center of my face is set, I'm just going to take a large fluffy brush and just lightly set the rest. It did set it into place well. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to wear well on me. You know how you can just tell sometimes? And again, I'm trying not to make too many judgments because this is just my very, very first time trying it. But like it looks very, very smooth. It just looks different than some of my go-to foundations do once they're set. Like it's almost, there's still like a creaminess there that I can kind of feel on the skin. It doesn't feel heavy. It's hard to explain. I'm kind of thinking like as I move my face throughout the day, is the foundation going to move with it? I guess we'll see. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. I think my skin looks really nice, very smooth. There is absolutely like a nice blurred finish to it. I just don't know if it's going to hold up well on my oily kind of combo skin, but I guess we'll see. So let me go do my brows off camera and then I'll be right back to do my eyes. For eyes, I actually have a new palette from Urban Decay. I did get this in the mail as PR, so they have two versions. They have a warm version of this and then a cool version. This one is the cool version. It's called the Naked Shaped Multitasking Eyeshadow Palette. So it actually has multiple textures in here. You're supposed to be able to use it for eyeshadow, for highlighting, for kind of contouring the brows, and it slides open like this, which is kind of cool. I did have an issue with this shadow. Like when I opened it up, this had shattered. It seems to be a similar texture to maybe like the ColourPop Super Shock shadows. So I did my best in cleaning it up, but these four shadows are creams. So just one little critique right from the beginning. I wish these were somehow separated with like a little plastic piece over the top, maybe somewhat similar to like the Patrick Ta palettes where the two creams have something kind of closing them off, because inevitably, even if you don't have a shadow that shatters, you will end up getting some powder mixed into these. But the shades in here are really pretty. I like a good cooler toned palette, especially for fall and winter. So I'm going to do something very simple today because again, the main point of this video is to test out the foundation. But I figured I could try this out because I did get it in the mail. I'm going to start with this shade in the crease. Urban Decay just does not want to let go of their Naked line, which I get it. It is like their best-selling line. The Naked palettes are iconic, of course. I will say I loved the new Naked eyeshadow sticks. I think I reviewed those in a fairly recent video. Those are great, and I feel like they're more of a modern take on the Naked line. Obviously, you know, they're eyeshadow sticks, so they're creams, but they're really just so easy to use, and they stay in place well. Okay, I have to say, this matte shadow is blending out really nicely. Very just effortless. I'm just going to take this shade to kind of blend out the edge just a little bit. So I kind of like the idea of like a new updated spin on the Naked palettes, especially because they did like a warmer one and a cooler one. And again, this shadow is going on so easily. I'm going to take this shade right here and just darken up the crease just a little bit. I was going to stop there, but since I'm testing this out for the first time, I want to use a few more shadows. And then I'll go in with some of the shimmers on the lid. I have to say these shadows are very, very nice. They're really creamy. Honestly, just like one of the best matte formulas I've tried in a little while. I don't think I've purchased a new palette in quite a while. I'm trying to think. Oh, the new Morphe palettes. I did purchase those. Those are great. Other than that, I don't think anything's really jumped out at me. And honestly, brands have really slowed down in the palette department. I think I'm going to keep it a little bit lighter. So I'll do this shade and then a little bit of this one on top. Yeah, this one is not anything super unique or special to me. It feels a little bit dry, especially because those mattes were so nice. But I definitely understand some people like a little bit of a softer shadow. I don't know. I'm very underwhelmed by this shimmer shadow. Let me do the lighter one on top and see if that's a little better. Here's the lighter one on top. No, I mean, okay, this is personal preference, but I prefer like a nice creamy, just smooth shimmer shadow. These, they don't feel that good. Again, they do have that shadow in here that shattered on me, which I think would perform or look similar to a Super Shock shadow. So if you wanted to add like an extra pop on the eyes, that would do it. But maybe you like more of a subtle look, and if that's the case, this could be the type of shimmer you go for. I just like something a little bit more wet looking, a little bit more on the sparkly side. Actually, let me just try to take a little bit of that and tap it right on top. Okay, yeah. So that kind of changes my mind about the palette a little bit, because you do get that really beautiful sparkly shade you can use to kind of transform the look. I just went in with a very small amount right on top. But yeah, it seems to apply nicely. Okay, good to know. And then again, there are 4 creams in here that you could use to line the eyes. You could use in the brows. You could use probably as a base if you want to do that too. I just added a little bit of that light brown shadow to my lower lash line too to tie things together. Ooh, my camera doesn't want to focus. Honestly, I think it looks pretty. The look came together better than I thought it was going to, but definitely due to this shadow kind of adding the pop that I was looking for. If you like more of a subtle shimmer, you might actually like this formula. Let me swatch all of these shades for you so you can see what they look like and get a better idea of everything kind of next to each other. I like the fact that it does come with these 4 creams, and it's like a similar concept to the Patrick Ta palettes where you get mattes, shimmers, and creams, but less expensive. I don't know that I like the formula better. The matte formula feels very, very nice. This is probably a little bit more subtle than I would typically go. And then I like the idea of this one, but if it's going to shatter all over, I don't know. I'm going to read through the reviews on Sephora's website and see if anyone else had that issue. So I'll keep you posted on this. Again, turned out good. I like the eyeshadow look. I just don't know if it's a necessity if you have a lot of, neutral palettes in your collection. I do have a new mascara to test out. This is from Kosas. It's their new Soul Gazer mascara. Again, I did get this in the mail as PR. I feel like I've been hearing really good things about this lately. This is the type of wand I do typically like. It's supposed to be a lengthening mascara that builds without clumping. And then they do say that it actually has a lash boosting peptide serum to give you visibly longer, fuller lashes in 6 to 8 weeks. A lot of mascaras are claiming that lately, and I do tend to switch up my mascaras, so I feel like I don't use one regularly enough to see the claims. If I ever find like my holy grail mascara that has that claim, I would honestly be really happy about that. But there are a few formulas I like, so I kind of switch back and forth. Before I do that, I'm just going to take their Soul Gazer Intensifying Gel Eyeliner. This one's in the shade Hypnotize, which I think is just black, and use this to tightline. Oh, okay. It's very, very creamy. I don't know that this is going to be ideal for tight lining. I've never tried this formula. They say that it's powered by hyaluronic acid for the smoothest glide, which typically to me would kind of mean that it's ideal for the upper lash line or for like a smudged out eyeliner look. Although they do say it's long wearing and waterproof. Okay, actually I only let this dry down for a second, but it does feel like it's going to stay in place well. So I'll try it out. We'll see. Okay, let's go in with the mascara. And we'll do just like a light coat on this side. Oh, okay. Just from like the initial application, it's already giving me some length. I did curl my lashes, which I have been doing lately, so I feel like that really does make a difference. I finally, well, I don't know that I completely got over my fear of eyelash curlers, but I got over it enough to be able to use one regularly, and I feel like it does make a big difference. So far this is going on nicely. Just like a light coat of this is giving me a good amount of length, and so far no clumping. So let me just fully apply it to this eye, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's what the mascara looks like with 2 coats. Go based on what it looks like on this eye, because this eye has been so messed up lately. No matter what mascara I use, the lashes just look kind of a mess. And I think it's because I sleep on this side of my face with like this eye buried in the pillow. So based on this eye, I feel like it looks really good. They're lifted, they're lengthened. There's not a ton of volume. I usually do like my mascara to give length and volume, so I can't say this is going to be like my absolute favorite mascara of all time. But if you like a lengthened, separated look, I could definitely see you enjoying this wand. And we'll see how the formula wears throughout the day. They did say online, which I thought was interesting, that you can basically reactivate it at any point in the day by adding another coat right on top, which normally I can't do that with mascara. I feel like once it dries, you can't really layer it up. but this doesn't feel heavy on the lashes. Like it really does have like a nice lightweight feel to it. So I think it could be like a good everyday mascara. I'm almost done. I think for the cheeks, I'm just going to use a tried and true staple since I am testing out a new complexion product. This is from LA Girl. It's just the On Cloud 9 Duo. So it comes with a bronzer and a blush. So typically when I'm done with my makeup, I'll take a little bit of the bronzer just to add a little bit more to the skin, the cheeks, whatever, and then I'll go in with the blush on top. This is the BK Beauty 111 brush, and if you have any formulas that are like a bouncy, kind of like creamy powder formula, this is the best brush because it just picks up the product well, applies it nicely. I'm just applying the blush right on top for a little bit of color. And then I'll add a lip product. Oh, you know what? I do have a finishing powder that I want to test today too. I'm just going to take a little bit on my nose just to tie things together. Actually, I'm glad I have this because I do typically go in with a finishing powder or just a powder in general to kind of blur the edges of my cheek products so they look a little bit more seamless. So this is new from One Size. It is their Boucle Silk Airbrush Finishing Powder. It comes in 10 different shades. So they describe it as a baked finishing powder that creates an all-over airbrushed silk finish. It's supposed to be pretty sheer, and I have the shade Light. Let me just swatch it to see what it feels like. Ooh. Is this going to be too dark? They actually sent me two shades. Let me go get the lighter one. This one is fair. I'll swatch them next to each other so you can see what they look like. They are pretty sheer, so I don't know that they're going to show up that much in the swatch, but just to give you an idea of what they look like. I'm looking for a very specific brush. So this is a little bit more of a dense brush. I'm going to use this right around the edges. Oh, to kind of blur that cheek product. That looks good, actually. I can see an instant difference. And then I'll use like a fluffier brush for the rest of my face. But in areas where you need a little bit more coverage, yeah, that blurred the edges of my cheek products perfectly. If you have trouble, like sometimes I feel like I apply my cheek products and they just don't look as blended as I would like. A nice finishing powder is great to kind of smooth everything over and just give it more of an airbrush finish. And honestly, yeah, I can see an instant difference with this product. For some reason, I thought it was going to be glowy. It's not. It does have a skin-like finish. Where's a fluffy brush? Let me go in with a fluffy brush all over. I'm just going to lightly kind of blend over everything. Now, it definitely has more of a matte finish to it, which is perfect, but I don't know why. I think based on the way it looked in the pan, I thought it was going to have like a little bit of a glow, but it's kind of marbled in there. There's like a very subtle veining throughout, which I don't know. I don't know why that struck me as, translating to glowy on the skin. It looks great. My lips definitely feel really, really moisturized from that Tula lip product, which is great because I just did a video, I think like yesterday or the day before, testing out some new drugstore launches, and I used the new Versed lip mask, and after I took that off, my lips actually felt kind of dry. So I'm happy about that Tula one. To line my lips, I'm just going to take the ColourPop Lippy Pencil, which is their lip liner in the shade Oh Snap, which is my go-to right now. It's just like a soft pinky nude. And then for lipstick, I actually bought this, where'd it go? A little while ago when it was on sale on Sephora's website. It's the Natasha Denona I Need a Rose lipstick in the shade Calla. I actually don't even know if it's still available because it was on clearance, but I had never tried a Natasha Denona lipstick before, so I figured I would try it. Oh, okay, this is like a perfect match. Hold on. Let me just apply this. Really comfortable, definitely smooth and creamy. I am going to add just a little bit of lip gloss on top. This one is from Lawless. It's the Forget the Filler lip gloss in the shade Lavender Sorbet. I feel like just a touch of like a cooler toned lip gloss on top will be perfect. Okay, I think I'm going to skip highlighter and just leave the makeup how it is. So I'll check back in with you in a few hours to see how everything is wearing, but I think it looks good. It looks smooth, everything applied really well. Obviously, I'll test these products separately, like the foundation separately, the powder separately with other products I know work really well. And, that could impact wear time, application, things like that. But just for my initial first impressions, I think everything applied well and looks good. And I'll be back in like 4 or 5 hours to show you how it's wearing. Okay, it's been about 4 hours, so I wanted to check in with you and show you what my makeup looked like. I am starting to look oily, and I don't know. I can't tell if I'm surprised I look oily or I expected it. I feel like once I set my makeup, I did expect that I would start to get oily throughout the day. But then when I was editing this video just now, I was watching a couple of reviews online, and I feel like everyone is saying the exact opposite. Like they started off super glowy, and then by the end of the day, their skin actually ended up looking more matte. Even though I am looking slightly oily, I feel like the foundation is wearing well. Like it's not creasing. I have a pretty distinct wrinkle between my brows when I make this face throughout the day. The foundation can really start to settle in that area, or when I make this face, and I feel like my foundation still looks pretty smooth. It is emphasizing large pores just a little bit in the center of my face, but I feel like once I blot my skin and add just like a touch of powder, I'll probably be good for the rest of the day. And again, it's holding up pretty well. I do think it maybe dried down a little bit darker than it initially looked when I applied it. Like I pulled the foundation all the way down to like this part, and you can tell like right here, this is a little bit lighter than like my face and my neck. So just something to note. But overall, I feel like it is wearing pretty well. I mean, I feel like for me, this is kind of to be expected, but sometimes by this point in the day, like 4 or 5 hours in, the foundation I'm wearing will really have started to settle in my fine lines and even like break apart on my chin. And yeah, this one's holding up really well, even though it is looking a little bit oily. So let me blot my skin and then add a little bit of powder, and then I'll come back in a few hours and check in with you and show you what it looks like at the end of the day. I just blotted my skin, and honestly, I'm not sure that I really even need to add any powder, but I think I am going to take just a little bit right around the center of my face to give it the best chance possible today and just kind of see if that helps. It looks basically brand new. Like I just blotted that, added a tiny touch of powder, and it looks perfect. So I do think tomorrow when I try it out, if I use more of a mattifying powder from the start, that might actually be a little bit more ideal with this formula and my skin type. But again, otherwise, it looks great. So I'll check back in with you in probably another like 4 or 5 hours. Okay, so it's been over 8 hours. This is what my makeup looks like. To be completely fair, I normally wear my makeup for more than 8 hours. I feel like probably 12 is maybe a little bit more realistic for me. But today was one of those weird days where my husband and I didn't have childcare. So we were both trying to work and balance like being with the kids. So I didn't get the chance to film until a little bit later on. So 8 hours is the best I could do for a wear time test today. But I will wear it for 12 hours tomorrow. And I'll update you in a couple of days with some more thoughts on this. But honestly, I feel like this is pretty good for me. I know you don't normally see me at the end of the day with my makeup on, but usually I do have a little bit more wear on my foundation. I'm either touching my face or my kids are touching my face. And I feel like a lot of my foundation ends up wearing off around my chin and even my cheeks as well. But I feel like it's still intact pretty well. And it really hasn't settled in fine lines or wrinkles where I end up moving my face. Like there's not a lot of creasing next to my eyes, between my brows, my forehead. So honestly, I feel like this looks pretty good. Again, you did see me blot my face and then touch up with a little bit of powder about 4 hours ago. And I don't think I look too oily. We were outside running around. I was just jumping on the trampoline, running around the yard with the kids. It's hot. I'm actually sweating a little bit. But again, I feel like it looks pretty good. Tomorrow, I'm going to try it with the Huda Beauty powder. I'm curious to wear it with more of a matte powder. I feel like that might actually lock it into place a little bit better, especially because I do typically prep my skin with a glowy sunscreen. And then I'll try it with a good like smoothing primer, like the Milani blurring primer, the Huda Beauty one, and see how that works. But honestly, I like the way it looks on my skin after 8 hours. I feel like I probably could again blot my skin and go like another couple of hours and be completely happy with it. It doesn't look perfect, but no foundation looks perfect on my skin after 8 hours for me. I feel like it looks pretty good. Again, I do feel like it dried just slightly darker. So I don't know. I feel like maybe I would end up going just one shade lighter if I was to repurchase it in a different color. But I do like the undertone of this one because it's not too warm, not too cool. Everything else wore pretty well throughout the day. There is a little bit of glitter on my face from the eyeshadow, but other than that, it really didn't fade or crease much. The mascara stayed in place well. The eyeliner did transfer on my waterline a little bit, which I suspected would happen. So I do think that's going to be more ideal to line the upper lash line What else did I test out today? I just reapplied the Tula lip balm. I do really like this. I feel like it actually lasts a little bit longer on the lips than like the Summer Fridays lip balm, the ColourPop lip balm. Probably not as thick or intense as the La Henriksen one, but I do think so far it is a nice option. I'll keep trying it out. So stay tuned. I'll share some updates with you on everything in just a few days or probably like another week or two. But thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you plan on trying out any of these products, let me know what you think once you do get the chance to try them. And I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye.